You must be a Sagittarius if you're watching this, or a Virgo. I am also pretty sure your IQ is above average and you're probably introverted but open to experience. Any psychologist would tell you that you belong to one of the rarest personality types. Wait a minute. This is the problem. Why would you be classified so easily into such clean categories? And why am I, as culture, so confident about where to put you? Now, there's a reason so many people feel like their identity is letting them down, is failing them. And it's not because they don't know who they are, it's because at some point, with complete certainty, somebody told them who they are. I'll explain what I mean. Let's be honest about something first. Classification feels good, labeling feels good. It stops answering the question, what have I been like so far, and starts answering a much heavier question, which is, who am I? Once that shift happens, the label starts to behave like a prediction. That's the problem. Now, let's take an example. Let's say your aunt has been recently hospitalized and things don't look very good for her. You've drifted apart over the years and you still remember that as a child she used to read to you at night. And suddenly, out of nowhere, you feel like revisiting this passion, this old passion that you once had for reading. Up until this aunt incident, you would go out with your friends 3 or 4 times a week, and now you don't want to. Now, what happens when you stop going out with your friends and this change comes over you? They start delivering snap judgments on who you are. You're not just somebody who prefers solitude right now, you are now an introvert. This is how your friend would probably deal with a complex situation. To understand the complexity of your situation would mean that this person has to put their brain to work. But almost everybody takes cognitive shortcuts, mental shortcuts. Another example of a snap verdict is you're not just anxious under certain conditions, you are an anxious person. The danger of a snapshot verdict or judgment is not that it's inaccurate in the moment. The problem is that it pretends to be timeless. A brilliant American author from the 1960s once said something that still unsettles people. He once said that there's no such thing as a heterosexual or homosexual person, only homosexual or heterosexual acts. Now, he's not saying sexuality does not exist. He was simply questioning the idea that a pattern or behavior in a particular context, in a particular moment in time, gets to define a whole person. So let's take a man, his name is Ravi, and he is a heterosexual. That's the category, right? Ravi has been a heterosexual at age 20, at age 25, at age 30, but then at age 40, he has a homosexual encounter. What happens then? What is Ravi now? The identity heterosexual does not seem to contain him anymore because an identity pretends to exist outside time, independent of time. So, what do I mean by that? No matter what phase of life you're in, no matter what the date or year is, you're always going to be heterosexual, is what identity claims. But an act only claims to exist in time, right? It can happen at 10 p.m. on August 10th and it can last half an hour or 1 hour or 2 hours, but not after that. So, let's say a homosexual act happens. What can we say about his identity now? Is it bisexual? But let's say Ravi lives out his entire life and he never has another homosexual encounter. So would you call him a bisexual then? You really can't. An identity pretends to exist outside time or independent of time. Another great line is from this very famous German philosopher that puts this really, really well. He said, "My field is time." What he means is that nothing that's alive right now can be understood without time. Now take a plant. If I show you a photo of a plant, you'll understand almost nothing about it. You don't know if it's healthy or struggling. You don't know if it is growing or dying. You don't know how it came into being. You don't know if it's recovering from damage, and you don't know if it is in a dormant phase, right? That same image or photo can mean growth or decline. To understand the plant, you need context. You need to know what sort of soil is being used. You need to know how much light it needs and which season it is currently going through. And then you also need to know how long it's been alive. Only then does the picture start to mean something. Now, notice how casually we ignore this when it comes to people. We look at someone in one phase of their life, under one set of pressures, at a particular psychological temperature, and we declare that this is who you are. We freeze them mid process. And social media has made this much worse because it rewards identities that can be stated clearly and quickly and repeatedly. Your inner life does not post well, it is not Instagrammable. Your contradictions can't be compressed into nice photos or reels, and your becoming has no caption. So instead, people learn to diagnose themselves. They treat their identity like it's a medical condition or a permanent psychological profile, something that's concrete. But the real truth is the thing that's actually happening is not something that you can post. So when life changes, as it always does, something breaks. Responsibilities can arrive randomly. Loss of someone or something can reshape priorities. And confidence can appear in places where fear used to be if you just get up one day and choose a different path. But when this happens, what happens to your identity? Your identity does not update, it doesn't catch up. So instead of thinking I've changed, the person thinks, oh, something is wrong with me. They say when circumstances change and when they start to see new things in themselves, they say, I don't feel like myself anymore. And what they usually mean is, I no longer match the snapshot or judgment or verdict that I believed. And society has no way of helping you. How can society help you when we live in a techno society which just has to cram the entire spectrum of your life into a photo or a short video? The thing is, you were never meant to be coherent across time. You were meant to be responsive to time and changing circumstances. A person is not a type, not a bunch of scores, and definitely not an astrology sign. A person is something that only makes sense in motion. And the moment you confuse snap judgments with destiny, you stop responding to reality and you start protecting an image, a false identity. Now, that's not self knowledge, that is self limiting. And that's why most of us feel like our identities have let us down. So, I'll sum this up. Your identity is not a diagnosis. It's not a medical condition that you have, and it's not a moment that you passed through. It's a process across time. To know something really well is to know birth, decline, growth, decay, stability, instability, and anything that asks you to freeze yourself politely, beautifully, scientifically, whatever, is asking you to stop paying attention to your life.